G'day guys, welcome back to the Play on Footy YouTube channel. Today we're going to be looking at the round 10 predictions and tips. It's a pretty exciting week of footy. It starts off tonight with the Suns versus the Cats. This one is going to be a bit of a interesting match, more so for the Cats than the Suns. We know what the Suns are like up there with the hotter climate, a little bit more dewy sort of climate up there in Darwin. There's been a couple of changes for both teams, with the Cats bringing in Conway, and the Suns bringing in Ned Moyle, which are sort of backup rucks. Reece Stanley's been out for the Cats, and with the Suns, Jared Witts is out. So that's going to change a couple of dynamics there. So you've also got for the Cats, Neal's coming in as the big 206 centimetre key forward. That's going to really bolster their forward line with Cameron and Hawkins. Hawkins is out, it's being managed as well. You've got Bowers coming in for Duncan and Bruin as well coming in to the Cats side. And for the Suns, you've got Swallow, Fiorini and Day. So a little bit more, more of the veterans coming in for the Suns there. So it should be, a pretty tight game, I'd imagine, being up in Darwin. Cats are sort of probably not used to the hotter climate. Suns have been pretty dominant at this ground in Darwin. They've won 4 of the last 7 there with an average of 102 scoring points that they produce. And Cats have actually won 6 of the last 7 against the Suns. So I'm actually going to be tipping the Cats with this one, even though the Suns are really strong up in Darwin. So yeah, I'm going to back the Cats for tonight's game of football. For tomorrow night's game of football, we've got Sydney first versus the Blues. This one's at the SCG. We don't know who's in or out at this stage. It's unlikely that Park will get a recall for Sydney at this stage. For the Blues, they've got Jack Martin, who's unfortunately done a calf, so he won't most likely be playing this game. At the SCG, Sydney are very strong there at home. And with the Blues, I just can't pick them at this stage. Seeing how well oiled Sydney were against the Dockers, despite the circumstances of Cam McCarthy, of course, I just thought they were tremendous. So I think in this game, I'm going to be tipping the Sydney Swans. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think it's going to be a 4-goal win for Sydney. In the next game, this is on Saturday. This is the Pies versus Crows, 8th versus 12th. This one's at the MCG, the home of football. For the Pies, we got Lachie Schultz coming back from suspension, and for the Crows, they have got, I'm not really sure who's coming back for the Crows, but I'm sure after last week's efforts against Brisbane, the Crows want to be coming out fit and firing, especially against the Pies, who have been a little bit hit and miss for the season, but they are building quite nicely. I think at this stage, I'm going to be backing the Pies. I just think with their sort of veterans and their leveled-headedness, I'm not discounting the Crows. I mean, they were so close to beating Essendon, and they obviously beat Carlton as well. It's just one of those things with Crows. They're sort of like the Suns. They're sort of a hard team to pick at the moment, but no doubt if they consistently start to build a bit of momentum, I feel a little bit more comfortable picking them. But at this stage, Pies definitely have the leg up, and I'm tipping the Pies. For the next game, you've got Giants versus the Dogs. This one's 5th versus 11th. This one's at NG Stadium, the Giants' home ground. The Giants and the Dogs have always had a massive, or not a massive, but a pretty healthy rivalry. Especially I think back to the year of 2016 when they beat them to get into the grand final, the Dogs, and I just feel that, this is going to be a big game, obviously for both clubs. I mean, the Giants really want to keep in the top 4 contention, and the Dogs, they want to be in the 8. I don't see why they shouldn't be, I suppose. And with their coach Luke Beveridge having a lot of fire around his sort of coaching stability at the moment, I just feel like if the Dogs could win this against the Giants, it really does take a lot of the pressure off Luke Beveridge. In my opinion, beating Richmond by how many points it was a big margin last week, still doesn't really keep Luke Beveridge's job. It doesn't make him safe or secure. So if the Dogs can get the job done against the Giants, I think that would be a massive statement. But I just feel the Giants are in probably a bit more of a healthier position. They do have Josh Kelly out. They do have Ash coming out as well for the Giants. They've got Peatling most likely coming back in for the Giants, and who else they pick to cover For Ash, we're not sure just yet. And for the Dogs, they've got a pretty healthy list at the moment. They don't have too many big injuries except for Liberatore and Waitman, who are probably the biggest 2 stars that are out at the moment. But yeah, I'm gonna be tipping the Giants. Next game is the Saints versus the Dockers. This one's at Marvel. This one's 14th versus 9th. Dockers coming off a 8-goal, 9-goal loss to the Swans last week at Optus Stadium. And St Kilda, look, I wouldn't have picked them to lose to Hawks, but I actually did pick them. I did pick the Hawks last week, but I didn't. I was actually hoping I'd be wrong because I wanted Saints to build, and at the moment they are just complete reversal of what they were last year. They finished 6th, I think, last year, and now they're looking at like a bottom 4 sort of area, which is not ideal if they lose this one to Dockers. So this one's at Marvel. Dockers play reasonably well at Marvel, and I believe the Dockers midfield's far superior than St Kilda's, and their backlines are far superior than St Kilda's. So with Darcy out for the Dockers, it leaves Jackson in that main ruck role. So yeah, the Saints have obviously got Marshall. He's been playing really well, especially last week against the Hawks. He did a tremendous job, scored really high in our AFL Fantasy 160-point game. So yeah, I'm gonna be going the Dockers. I just feel like they can, definitely win that one. And if they don't, I don't know what to say. But they want to be playing finals this year, and I think they've got a good enough list to play finals. So yeah, I'm going to be tipping the Dockers on this one. For the next game, we've got Lions versus Richmond at the Gabba. I mean, it's not. Look, Lions, they need to win this, obviously, to save their season. 13th versus 17th. Richmond are just beyond repair. They've got so many injuries. So it would be dim-witted of me not to pick the Lions. So I'm going to be picking the Lions on that one. We'll move along now to the next game, the Bombers versus North. This is 3rd versus 18th. Again, pretty obvious choice. I'm going to be picking the Bombers. The North have McKercher out. They're not really sure what role Sheezel will be playing. Will he be playing in the middle? Will he be playing back because McKercher's out? That's probably the more reasonable choice there, to have him down back. And the Bombers, they've got an exciting team this year. They've got Setterfield's out, unfortunately, still. But you've also got, Archie Perkins, you've got Langford, you've got Nick Martin, you've got Merritt, who's been leading from the front, tremendous. And Goldstein, he's been doing really well at the Bombers since departing North. So this is against his old team. It's going to be a bit fiery, but I'm going to be tipping the Bombers. The next game is the Port Power versus Hawks. This is 6th versus 15th at the Adelaide Oval. Pretty straightforward with this one, I feel. I think Port definitely showed that they beat the Cats at the Cattery last week. They most likely will have Rosie out. The teams haven't been released yet, so it's a bit hard to say. I don't think he'll be picked, but I digress. I think even if they don't pick him, they're going to win. So I'm going to be picking the Port Power over the Hawks. A good battle to see will be Jordan Sweet. I'm sure he'll be back from his illness to verse Lloyd Meek in the ruck. That's going to be a great battle as well. And it'll be interesting to see how the Hawks midfield stack up against Port. But I think Ports will take the chocolates in this one. So I'm tipping the Port Power. And the last game of the round 10, is the Eagles 16th versus the Demons 4th at Optus Stadium. The Eagles have a bit of a growing injury list at the moment. With Petruccelli, that he sat out of last week's game with, I think it was like some ankle injury or calf injury. So I'm gonna be tipping the Demons here. They've got Shane McAdams, the ex-Adelaide Crows player, most likely stepping in for Jacob Van Ruin, who has been concussed or is in the concussion protocols. So yeah, this one at home for the Eagles at Optus, I'm still gonna be tipping the Melbourne Demons for a pretty convincing win, you'd feel. Hopefully it's not a blowout compared to last week, but I'm going to be tipping the Demons. What do you guys reckon? Comment down below, like and subscribe. What game you're most likely going to be tuning into and excited for. But as always, I'll see you on the other side for more exciting AFL news and content. Cheers.